I am Cami Porter, and I am an American soldier stationed in South Korea.
I am Haley. I'm an American soldier. As you can see, Haley Stone. This side. This side.
Hello, my name is Leah Garmans. Nice to be here. I'm an American soldier.
I am Kaylee Ann, and I am a U.S. soldier.
Yes, I requested to have Korea. That's kind of uncommon for a lot of American soldiers.
So this is my first duty station. I was in Arizona, and then I got stationed in Korea. And actually, I was very excited to come. I wanted to go overseas, so I was hoping that I would go overseas. And all my friends were like, oh, I don't want to go overseas. So I was like I was hoping that they would give it to me.
I actually waited a very long time to get the information on where I was going. And I honestly didn't think I was going to go to Korea. I thought I was going to go to some dry lean place, but I came to Korea and I was very excited.
This is my first duty station right out of schooling for the U.S. Army.
My parents were very excited for me to start my life. I've always had an interest in living abroad, so this was a success for me. But I know my friends were disappointed to see me leave and everything, and I know almost angry that I was leaving the United States, like I was moving on to the next chapter in my life. But I also kind of saw people's lack of knowledge about Korea, because I was telling my friends I'm moving to Korea, and they were like, North Korea? And I was like, no, why would I move to North Korea? So that was kind of funny.
My mom was very excited. My mom was like, I'm so excited for you. You're gonna go to another country. You're gonna start your life. That's amazing. And my friends were very sad. I don't want you to leave. My sister was like, I don't want you to leave. Everyone was just like, I want you to stay here, except my mom. My mom was like, I'm so ready for you to go. Please go. So I was very excited. I love it.
So I called my dad, and he was already prior services. He was already in the Army. He retired. So when I called him, I was like, oh, I'm going to Korea. He was like, oh, okay, cool. I guess I'll call you when you get over there. So that was really about it. Yeah, he was just nonchalant about it, because he's just used to traveling and things like that. So my friends, they were just excited for me. They was like, okay.
My mom was really shocked. She didn't think that Korea was even an option. I think a lot of people forget that Asia is even over here. So my mom was like, wow, Korea, you're going over there. And all the US sees is really what's on the news. So my mom was a bit scared. She was very excited but scared. My friends were very upset. They didn't really know what I was getting myself into. They didn't really understand that was an option either, to move the whole way across the world. So they were very upset, and they just knew they were going to miss me and not see me for a long time.
When you say the word Korea, the first thing that does come to mind for most Americans would be North Korea. But as the South Korean culture becomes more global, it's getting a more positive outlook on from Korean entertainment standpoint.
There's a lot of stereotypes about Korea, a lot of negative ones that I'm not going to necessarily say. However, I think it's not what anyone thinks it is. I love Korea. When I came here, people are like, it's not fun, all this stuff. But when I came here, I've loved it from the jump. I love the people, the culture, the food. Everyone is so much nicer out here compared to America. I love Korea. I love it so much.
So I feel there's two kinds of people when it comes to what American thoughts of Korea. So I feel the first thing people think is Kim Jong-un. And the second, where you have your K-pop fans. So you have, or the K-drama love. So I feel those are the two type of things when they think of Korea. It's oh, K-pop, BTS, things like that. And then Kim Jong-un, they're oh, Kim Jong-un people, they're usually hesitant about Korea. So I feel that's the only thing you really think about. And then the K-pop is I love Korea things. So yeah.
So I think Americans think about the news when they think about Korea. They just see, KJU and what goes on between North and South Korea. They don't really see that it's just another country, and there's people over here that live a normal life too. So they didn't really understand what I would be doing over here. And I don't think I understood it either, so when I got here it was very different. I had to explain to them, and still I'll tell my mom stories and I'll tell my friends stories, back in the US, and they don't really understand what I'm telling them. They can't believe some of the things that happen here.
Yes, I felt like I transported here. They move. I moved with a bunch of other soldiers, and so we had to make a bunch of stops, but I slept the whole way here. And then finally when I got here, it felt like I transported here, and when you drive right onto base, it looks like America still, but then it's written in English and in Korean, so I just remember being in like complete awe. I felt like it was, the time difference was initially a shock, stuff like that.
So the very first time I got here, it was very late, I was very tired, and I was like, oh my gosh, we're in another country. And then they like drove around a little bit, and you kind of look around out the window on the bus like, I am not in America, there is no English words out here. And I think that I was a little bit nervous, I was a little bit scared, because I was very scared that I wouldn't be able to like speak with people around me or understand what people are saying, but a lot of people in Korea speak English, so it was very helpful. And then when we got on post, I felt a little bit better. Just getting used to the time difference, that's a little bit hard. Like me, like sleeping and then you wake up and it's 3 a.m. and you're like, it's only 3 a.m. here. Because in America, if you wake up at 3 a.m., I think it's daytime over there. So it'll be nighttime here, daytime over there. And that was like really hard for us to get used to.
So I was on the bus, really just listened to music, and then I got to my barracks, and I just remember that night gathering everything, and then the people told me who was like over us in processing. They were like, they said, don't go to Seoul because you really don't know Korea like that yet. And of course people went out anyways to Seoul, and the next day people were like, oh, Seoul's so crazy, because they went out partying and clubbing things. And I just went to my room and I talked to my loved ones and just telling them.
Yes, I do. I remember being on the bus and just looking out the window, and I couldn't understand a thing. I was very confused and I didn't think it would be like that, but I also knew that I wasn't going to understand what the signs and billboards were saying. And then I got on post, and it was just like being in the US all over again, very Americanized.
Yes, I do think it's different. The only things I'd heard about was like Seoul, and then I think Seoul it's got that like city Seoul vibe, but being outside of Seoul is very different from what you hear. I think just that like it's country. Like I hear Koreans always say that it's country, and that's not country. I don't think there's very few portions of Korea that I would consider country, just because I'm from the western coast of the United States, so that's country, where it's like acres and acres of land, but people will there'll be like a small city and Koreans will be like, oh, this is the country. It's not the country. This is a built-up, fully functioning city.
Very different. Here I feel like I was just looking at a million different cities and alleyways, I guess I want to say, and like streets, and everything was very busy, kind of like New York City. Very, very busy, but I live in the country in the US, so everything's neighborhoods and big houses, not necessarily tall buildings with apartments, so it was very different.
I love Korea. I had no idea what I was walking into, and I absolutely love it.
I love Korea. I think it's an amazing place. Like for example, on New Year's, we went out and me and my friends were all hanging out, and we were walking down the street, and it was very cold outside, so we went inside to this restaurant, and these random Korean guys were like, oh my god, let me buy you a meal, and I was like, oh my god, yes, like sure. And I was like, do you want me to help you pay for it, like do you want to go half and half? And he was like, no, I'll pay. And I was like, okay. And then he like kind of got a bunch of things on the menu, so we got to try a little bit of everything, and it was amazing. I think that was like one of the best nights that I've had here so far.
Korea is very interesting, I will say. The shops are there's a lot of shops, I feel like a lot of small buildings. I will say they have like a lot of businesses, like small businesses in like America. I feel like that's like the first thing I think. It's like there's a lot of small businesses and things like that. It's pretty cool. There's a lot of like traditional things to go to, a lot of places to explore. I feel like I want to hike the mountains, I will say, so I know there's like a lot of like nature things out here in Korea. So it's some pretty cool things.
I love Korea. I think it's very busy. I love that it's city. I've never lived in the city before. We always just go visit in the U.S., different cities and different places. But living in a city is very different. Everything's very convenient, close by. The transportation is amazing. I didn't think it would ever be like that. In the U.S., there's like a bus. Maybe I've never been on it. But here, everything's very convenient. Like, you need something, you just go get it at GS25.
I would say the convenience, and then just something's always open and something's always happening that's going on. And then also, I think Americans also are very ignorant sometimes, just because America's so big, it's hard to travel, so they don't see other cultures. So I would say it's like a convenience for Americans to go experience another culture.
I think because we already work with Korean soldiers like Katusas, they really show us like how loving all Koreans are. Like when you go out with like the Rock Army, they take you out and you go to lunch, and they pay for lunch, they greet you, they show you new foods, and they talk to you, and I think that is very great. A lot of Korean people are so kind when it comes to like meeting American people, and I think that's the great part about being here. I like that. And they try to speak English, especially when you try to learn some Korean and you speak to them. Koreans get very excited. I noticed that, like when I try to like say hi, they're like, oh my gosh, hi, and they want to talk to us, they want to know us, so I really enjoy that.
So we can work with other cultures and I guess kind of just learn from them. I guess as a soldier, like you kind of learn from like how the life of a Korean soldier versus like an American. So
I think the good thing about living here and being military army is like it's seeing a whole different side of the world. Yes, I'm in the military, but I get to see everyone else, and like working with the Katusas and the Rock Army, like they can be very helpful within our job, and I like that we are here to help them. Like we help them a lot. They ask us a lot of questions and we ask them a lot of questions, and we have different things at work that like if we don't understand, they understand, and if they don't understand, we understand. So we get to help each other a lot. Like I enjoy that a lot.